Hi everyone, my name is Elsie Rodriguez and I will be your discussion leader for this week. I will be covering information from Chapter 8, English for Thesis Writing, and Chapter 9, the conclusion of our book. English Thesis Writing. Chapter 8 focuses on a case study that involves English thesis writing. The course was created to meet the needs of students writing a thesis for the first time, with no experience of academic genre writing, and it was also developed to prepare students for specific communicative situations. Context. The series of workshop was created in a university context in a range of disciplines. To meet the needs of students in a range of disciplines. They were mostly non-native speakers of English who were struggling to write literature reviews. A teacher with the same concerns was asked to offer a one-off workshop to teach writing literature reviews, and it was extremely successful and attracted lots of students in master's and doctorate programs. This was the course that planted the idea for the thesis writing course. The workshop series was offered as an option. The students attended courses as needed depending on what stage they were in their research process. I like this idea because the last thing a student wants to do is waste time on something he or she does not need. So the fact that they can focus on their area of struggle makes it for a successful course or program in my eyes. Although it is a great idea in my opinion, it does get complicated because there was a range of difficulties and not all students understood their specific need, and a lot of the students were undertaking a range of research studies as well. So the range of difficulties were specifically related to linguistic needs and communicative needs. The target audience for the sessions was not fixed since the class members were likely to change over the course of the workshop series. The needs analysis was unusual because it was investigating literature on the topic and investigating students' difficulties in writing at a post-grad level. And they were all part of the investigative needs. The research showed that the students had difficulty with expression of ideas, sequencing, development ideas, organization, argument, research, and methodology. I can relate to all of the needs at an elementary level too. When I teach writing throughout the school year, I realize that because of my students' language levels and their writing levels, it can get a little difficult to pinpoint exactly what they need when it comes to both. So merging the two, I found it easier to conference with the students. That's where I get the bang for my buck. Is that how you say the saying? I'm not sure. But anyways, when I meet with them during conference periods, when conferencing either in small group or one-on-one is when I can better meet the needs of the students and specifically pinpoint exactly what they need as far as the writing development and the writing process. So I'm wondering, in this part of the book, I was wondering if universities consider possibly having a course just like the one described in this chapter and then dividing up the time into small groups of conferencing. So you're also giving the students more help besides the area of need. You're also pinpointing language needs as well. Just a food for thought. Investigating specialist discourse. The investigations of discourse was based on a genre analytical approach. Each chapter, such as the introduction or the literature review, was considered one at a time. The teacher used genre-based descriptions of parts of the thesis and own research in the area. The student chapters were analyzed in areas of content, and this discussion of the results were as follows. Using literature and research that the teacher made a description of the functions, content, organization, and the teacher also narrowed focus in micro issues of language use and expression. So the goal was to identify salient linguistic features in various chapters of the thesis, and the teacher also conducted interviews with the staff members who were supervising students and students themselves to find out their understanding of various chapters of the thesis. The results helped the supervisors identify three broad functions of the discussion of results in the chapters. Number one, it should summarize the results. Number two, discuss the results of current study. And number three, the literature. Designing the workshop series and materials. A Part 5 workshop was created, and they were all held over and over again throughout the year. Students chose the classes they wanted to take. It was not a credit-bearing course, and it did not involve coursework or assignments. It covered all chapters of the thesis with a focus on literature review and genre of writing. It entailed teachers to lead discussions that led to pair work and small group work, and the teachers used text samples as models, and for students to, they used them as text models for the students to use and analyze as well. Responding to difficulties and constraints. Time was identified as a constraint that hindered the development of the workshop series, and it was not due to the lack of time of the teacher, but the students' lack of time due to the workload of other classes. Due to this, teachers opted to use mainly a deductive approach, which means modeling and description are presented first, and then students study examples and or apply what they learned. The teachers also opted to use the giving information straight strategy, which is also a deductive approach. Due to the lack of time and the fact that the workshops are not courses, the students do not do writing in the workshop. Instead, it is limited to the descriptions of writing, but it does not include writing tasks. So the goal is to make it a credit-bearing course so that the teacher can assess the learning. Currently, the teacher relies heavily on the students' feedback in the workshop evaluation. Okay, moving on to Chapter 9, the conclusion and review. This chapter reviews everything related to ESP course development. The needs analysis considered to be the cornerstone of ESP, along with its case studies and basically it means just that. It is what the learners need in terms of features and discourse of the course. So finding the target situation in language and communication aspects was a concern for all course developers in this book. So investigating specialist discourse required the teachers, developers of the courses to spend a great deal of time investigating the difficulties of the students. They used different approaches to investigate the discourse, such as inquiry, observations, time on the field, or research. Using existing data before generating own data is highly recommended. To build on that data is better than starting from scratch. So wide and narrow angled courses were also mentioned. Their designs were shared, but most of the courses that were in the book fell towards the narrow end of the spectrum due to their focus on immediate needs. So the course developers all used authentic written text as their target communities. And overall, ESP is aimed to help students meet their linguistic needs. The diagram that I added and created and mimicked basically from our book is on the right-hand corner, and it is a visual representation of an ESP course. And for me, this diagram helped with reviewing all the different levels and what each one entails. Thank you for watching. This was my first time making a video, and I apologize if I spoke too fast and looked at my note cards too much. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.